What's going on YouTube and Facebook? This is the Shadow Dragons here with another championship deck profile from our locals. And what's your name and what are you running, sir?
I'm Pat Eshghy. I played Vegeta, blue-red aggro Vegeta tonight.
Ooh.
Basically, it's just, Vegeta using critical and attacking, for good games. I guess first card is Saiyan Cabba. This guy's helps you awaken faster. Does giant pulse damage. But basically, the way the deck works is it uses the Saiyan Cabba and Raging Cabba effects to kind of like surprise a lot of fast damage out of your opponent. You hopefully trying to awaken the same turn you attack and keep that plus 10,000 buff going into where the Raging Cabba attack goes in.
That's what I was going to say. It's so busted, like you could just get the effect off of Cabba and then it just keeps the boost after it.
Yeah, so I mean it's a 30,000 double strike for 3, basically, effectively, assuming that you're willing to invest a Cabba into it. So I mean you're playing 2 cards to do that, but 30,000 double strike on turn 3 is pretty nasty. It can do a lot of damage really quickly, and not to mention if you use Senzu Beans, those also will count again for whenever you're ready as well. So you're pretty regularly attacking for 40,000 double strike a second time, because like a lot of people will take these early Saiyan Cabba hits is what you're hoping for in a lot of these matchups, because they just want to draw those 2 cards, and that's exactly what you want. You just you don't want them to fight over the early points of damage. So
you can just get them low and then end the game before they get out of control.
And then the deck also has like a backup plan if they can potentially fight off your initial rush. The deck also plays the 4 Miracle Gohans as well as the Awakening Evil Boo combo into the Grand Absorption Evil Boo. So there's a lot of crazy stuff.
Keep it right here because there's like a terrible player. Yeah.
So these 3 cards in combination. I mean, Miracle Gohan, everybody knows this card can be pretty crazy, and this deck can pretty regularly dump its hand. So it's not out of the question to cast him for 2 mana relatively early in the game as well. It can get rid of a lot of its cards
and popping those little guys for that.
Yeah. For free damage and being able to clear their board if they actually are trying to rush you. Obviously being able to play the Awakening Majin Buu. And if you have a Gohan in your hand, and this deck plays the full 8 Gohans that you would want to use, you can have the Miraculous Gohan or the ability Unleash Gohan to place underneath this Awakening Evil Majin Buu and then turn into the Grand Absorption Evil Buu. And then you can you'll have dual attacking double strikers no matter what, or you could even have dual attacking card drawing as well over here as well. You wouldn't have the double strike necessarily, and then obviously he can potentially deal 4 damage in 1 turn for 5 with that combination.
So you run 4 of this and 4 of this and 4 of this.
Yeah, so the only card, I'm only playing 3 of the Grand Absorption because you don't really want to draw them in your hand. You just want them to be in your deck. Okay. I was running 2, but I just went up to a 3rd one because you want to make sure there's always 1 in your deck. They're easy to resource. You pretty much always resource them if they ever end up in your hand, because you're hardly ever going to actually cast them. You could potentially maybe evolve it for 6 in some scenarios, but pretty unlikely. And then to round out the red cards, obviously, no Vegeta deck is complete without the Further Destruction Champa, being able to activate your leader to get critical and then get double strike on top of that. It's probably the best turn 1 play in the game to attack your activate a leader ability and attack for 20,000 double strike critical on turn 1. Your opponent either isn't between a rock and a hard place because they either have to take the 2 damage critical and then you've invested 1 card for 2 damage and they don't get any cards, or they have to try to fight off the attack and have to discard 2 cards at least to stop the attack from hitting them.
Surprise at double strike is just always good. Yeah.
And it's you never know if they're going to have it. So what are you going to do? Just negate every time they activate their hero? And then you still have it if they do. So
punishment.
So I'm running the full 4 of those.
4 of those.
And then to round out the red cards, I have 3 Vados Assistance. This deck really can't handle a lot of big threats. So if you do get into the late game, you want to be able to have a bunch of counters. So I'm running 7 total counters, the 4 Vados Assistances and 4 Whis' Coercion.
All right, yeah, so you want to put all these red cards over here to the side real quick?
So with the Vados' Assistance and then the 4 Whis' Coercions, you have 7 total counters. And because that's really your defense from big creatures, because you're not going to win a long game. You basically have to win. I think I won most of my games, on turns 4 or 5, most of my games today.
Wow.
And it was only 4 rounds, but you're using those to keep the pressure off of your characters, and being able to ready a Cabba to make sure it evolves is pretty nice as well. In case you have to play it out early, ready a Cabba to evolve and make them have to play a removal spell on it.
So just 3 of that? Right.
So it's 4 Whis Coercions and 3
okay.
of the Vadoses.
Okay.
And then because your deck doesn't have a lot to do in the middle of the second turn of the game, I'm playing 3 Objections. You basically only want to draw 1 because you're never going to play more than 1. But being able to skip turn 3 and go all the way up to 4 really helps, and you have a lot of extra cards in your hand because of Vegeta's ability and Cabba's ability. Being able to utilize those extra cards and make sure that you're getting to your 4 cost cards, and the big finisher for the deck is the 5-drop Majin Buu. So that's kind of your end game.
Okay.
So 3 of those. I'm running 2 copies of Encouraging Presence Monaka. This is the card I'm not 100% sold on yet. I tested it out today. I like it because it cycles. It's kind of a dead draw if you draw it when you're trying to combo and stuff, but just more ways to give your leader double strike to combine with the critical. I think is good.
It's good. It allows you to draw too.
Yeah,
so,
it cycles itself. It does kind of telegraph itself. It's not as good as the Terrifying Presence, Champa, Further in Destruction Champa, because they can counter it after you play it. But if they did that, you still drew a card, and you got a counter out of it.
It just loses. It loses the surprise, and they're I can actually negate that. So
if I was going to change anything potentially, I don't know what I would change this for, but I could potentially see playing 1 or 0 of this card as well.
Okay.
And then the real winners of the deck are the 4 Unyielding Spirit Trunks and 4 Senzu Beans. This is where the magic happens, because your opponent, you have 8 of these basically untappable resource effects. Combining with Raging Cabba, you can play just ridiculous amounts of cards on the same turn. So you basically just have 8 basically untappable lands in your deck. That's what these cards are. You never resource any of these unless something crazy is happening in your hand. Okay. You need a blue mana, but you can do some ridiculous things in one turn with these.
Wow.
So being able to attack, play there was one of the games I played my 5-drop Majin Buu, and then attacked with my Saiyan Cabba, and then played use my Trunks to ready a resource, and then into double Senzu Bean, and then I had 3 mana to evolve the Raging Cabba, and then still had the Buu ready to go. You can do some crazy things with that, and this is where the real power of the deck comes. And then obviously 4 Boost Piccolos to round off the deck, because everybody knows these cards are good, and you get to 4 really quickly. So you suicide basically lose your entire life. So these are always good, and even in your openers.
Those are always just more powerful than people that awaken early. Just
and
it's so
these
hard.
are better in this this aggressive shell than I think in a defensive shell, because a lot of times if you're playing a defensive deck, you can end up in a scenario where your opponent's not going to awaken your leader, and they're just kind of rotting in your hand, and you feel obligated to hold them because the game is good. The game's going to drag on, but you don't know what else to resource. So
pretty good.
But that's the deck.
All right,
we didn't play with sideboards today. I don't know. I knew we weren't playing with sideboards, so I was I'm just going to run it like this. But I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what I would put in a sideboard if I was going to. But I really like the deck, and hope you guys like it too.
All right. What were your matchups today as well?
Oh, okay. I played in the last round on the camera. I played against Android 17. I feel like I got pretty lucky to win that matchup. He played turn 2 Chilling Terror 17, and I was kind of. I thought that I was going to be dead because I knew he was never going to attack with it. He unfortunately had all of his 5-drop evolving cells in his life life or his deck discard pile, I guess, because he resourced one on turn 1, and then just when he searched his deck, didn't have one, and then couldn't kill my Cabba because of it. Because so I got a little lucky to win that game, I think. But I also played Beerus, which was a pretty easy matchup. Because he's like puts no pressure on you, and you can just go basically. I went all the way down to 1 life in that game. I played. What did I play round 1? That was. So it was a Cell maybe? Yeah, either Cell or another Android 17. One of those two. It was another Cell deck,
Okay.
and then. Beerus matchup. Can't remember the 4th one. Yeah, but it was a good day. I enjoyed the deck. So.
Alrighty, yeah. Thank you for your deck profile. We'll hope to see you around soon. And take it easy, my man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.